In this video, instead of talking about the templates, I want to talk about the parts of engaging with the material. Instead of getting there, there's a part of this that entails healing that is the very difficult part. And a friend of mine is there right now, and we've talked a little bit, and it's a tough place to be. I have been there myself. There's bad feelings, depression, things you're facing that just you get this real mental funk. And it's hard to function. You know, you're forcing yourself every day to go through the motions, but something is just difficult inside. And that's what I want to talk about, because that is a part of what happens when you are healing a lot here. My name is Dan Paulson, and welcome to the channel. What I've done is, throughout my life, is somehow found myself living the material. Everybody does. We just don't know it. I've had time to see that that is what is happening and understand that the template is based on how humans come about and then how humans heal themselves by using a mental process. Okay. This is what happens. When we start off in life, we gradually become products of what when we're hurt later on. Think of your early life. It didn't start that way. It was very gradual, or maybe it was started off really bad. Maybe you didn't have a happy home, parents fighting and arguing as an infant, and you grow up that whole life like that. And then we grow up in those environments and we get wired in those environments. We don't realize that we're attaching and we are learning about life through our life experiences. When you're born, what kind of consciousness do we have when we're born? There isn't any. It develops as we have life experiences. That becomes us. So the very part of the hurt that we carry, that we want to face, is all of that stuff that we've accumulated in life, and it doesn't feel good. Over time, we've put it away. We've compartmentalized it, and we don't want to look at it. For the people that are called, at some point in time, you realize that not only does that happen to everybody, but it happens to us, and it's causing a problem in our own life. The way we feel, the way we have experiences with other people, the relationships, the jobs, all of that stuff suffer as a result of what we carry with us. And we either find some place where we fit that's just as nasty as us, or we go, I don't want to be here. And that's what happens. Generally, we're someplace when we want to heal that we're not going to end up being, so that's going to be tough. You go along life happily, not facing that stuff, and now you want to face it. You're suddenly looking at it and going, my God, why doesn't it feel good? I don't like it. Day after day after day. And this is the part right here in the template. If we were looking at the template, this is where we're facing our demons. Or if you're using Jewish material, this is where we are at we're right at the altar, ready to start healing and communicating with God, our higher being, except we don't know how to do it. And what we're experiencing right there is this: we're floating around the conscious, the subconscious, the things that we've stored away, the field that we're flowing in, the emotional state. All of that is this mess, this bundle that we're in. And we try to take our conscious or our sensations away from that, but when we come back to it, it's still there. We need to change this mass, but what that mass is accumulation of the perceptions of our life experiences. How thick are those? What we need to understand when we're going through that is that we have spent years wiring the brain with synapses and perceptions. There's probably billions, trillions of connections made up there. You can't just snap a finger and have them unwire. There's no spiritual lobotomy option in this material. What there is the idea that every time something comes up, you don't go clear out the whole field. You wait till harvest time, or you wait until something emerges, then you take care of it. You don't know how to heal. You don't know what to heal until it acts out. But then when it acts out, that's what you got to work on. The part I want to deal with is the constant funk. And if you can imagine this right now, we've got this. Here's a. Imagine that all these bad experiences are put away in such a way that we don't want to deal with them. That's a part of us. There's the physical part that experiences all of that, and we try to separate from that. But while we're going through the healing, what we're doing is we're bringing all those things together. We're not pushing away what hurts us. we're accepting and bringing in what hurts us. So it's not, when we're starting to face it, that's what's going to happen. So it's going to hurt and it's going to be more painful. But use that pain as an indicator of the emotional state of the bundle of memories. Then you can look at that and say, this is a positive thing. I feel like crap. Good. Then you know what you're working with. What is it? Is it shame? Is it hatred? Is it, what is it? And then start looking at it. Buddhism is a very gentle and peaceful way to live and a way to heal. And there's a teaching that Buddha has as part of the healing process is that these things that come and that emerge from within us, these hurtful things that we try to push them away all the time. The teaching here is to stop doing that and to watch them come, to sit. It's not going to feel good. It won't feel good. Let the emotion rise, let it come, and then instead of fighting it or anything like that, just sit with it. Just go, okay, well, yeah, it doesn't feel good. But watch it and then let it subside. And then it's going to emerge and it's going to subside. And that if we're watching it and doing the right things, each time it emerges, it should be a little more gentle than last time. That it's going to be gradually easing off by looking at it. Teachings are for us to bring things into the light, to emerge things, to Gospel of Philip, to pull it out of, the man dies when the intestines come out. Things hidden stay strong and live as long as the roots of them are hidden. Only when they're emerged and come out. That's exactly what we're doing. This is metaphoric for the idea of all this stuff we don't want to face, time to face it. That's the only way to heal it. It will not heal when it's ignored. It will heal if it is faced, but then if it is engaged with in the right manner. Buddha's working from the higher mind, from the higher being doing this. However, what I'm suggesting is that instead of simply watching it come and watching it go, that while it's here, we know what it is, we know the nature of it, that we can engage with it. That's a part of Buddha teachings later on, but you don't have to. You don't have to engage with it. You can just let it come and let it go. It will also heal. It's more gentle. The problem there is it's going to take longer. So you have choices. Aggressive, hard, it doesn't feel good, get it over with. Things are still going to continue to emerge. Or just live a lifestyle of watching it come and watching it go. It's more gentle, it's more easy. It provides mental comfort for an individual to live a life better when they're holding a lot of hurt. There's a point where what we're doing at this point and what the material teaches is that we use our consciousness and our higher being at this point in time to work in concert to work through that funk. And that becomes difficult because it's, what am I doing in here? And what you're doing is you're taking your higher being, which is, again, this is the part where you can, if you're a called person, you can get here. There's certain people that can get here. You can detach from yourself and look at yourself from a detached perspective. That is how we kind of live life, not looking at that stuff to begin with. We can kind of get there. We can kind of detach from that. That's what we need to do, but instead of detaching from it and looking away, we need to detach from it and look at it. And it's not going to feel good because it's wired in deep. That's okay. We don't look at it and say, I want it to feel better, and it feels better. It doesn't work like that. It still feels bad. Remembering every day it's been feeling bad and getting bigger. And that there's also, it depends on the nature of what it is. You might have a memory or memories of experiences and events that happened that you know very specifically. This person repeatedly did this to me, or I have issues with this person, or something somehow you know very specifically what that is. And you can go work at those things by knowing what they are, talking to the individual, making amends, doing whatever. We're trying to unfetter our guilt. We don't want to carry that stuff. We feel like we need to get rid of it. And you're around people all the time that don't want to, so it's difficult. We're smoked. We're going to have a tough time, so we have to look inward to do this. So the higher being then is looking at the situation while the consciousness is the one that is experiencing and feeling and the one that likes to pull away from it because it's the one that feels. The conscious is the ones when things are mixed up in the mind and the glands are working and we feel depressed or sad or angry or something like that, that's the conscious experience right there that is emerging from what is stored inside of us and the conflict and the life triggering that's going on. Boy, I wish I could have an exchange instead of just sit here and talk. There's a point, if you are healing, you might think, my God, I don't like this. It doesn't feel good. And what I want you to know is that you have to go through that there's a pile of, you're going to the far side of the earth. You want to go to the beginning of your time, the starting of life. And there's this massive experience in between. And if you want to get to the good place, you have to go through this. If you ignore what is there, we know at this point, it continues to cycle and trigger. And even though I can try to forget about it, it's just below the surface, and I have to do things to try to forget about it, alcohol, drugs, some sort of action that keeps my mind away from it, because we don't like to face it. And those are just normal things. We're not different when we do that. But we have to, if we want to go through it, we have to sit through that hurt. We have to look at it, but we don't just sit and go, it doesn't feel good. We can look at it and go, okay, it doesn't feel good. Why doesn't it feel good? Oh, this memory pops up. Yeah, you did this. Okay, what can I do to think through that? Then you begin to work on finding ways of taking that emotional state that you have, which is the issue. When you can look at that and go, I hate that. That's a problem. You're carrying that. I hate that right there. That's a part of your programming that is going to be acting out. We can see it. We don't like to look at it that way. We don't know it's doing that. Our love is acting out. Our hate is acting out. Everything we have acts out. And it's not because of what we want to do. It's because of what we're carrying. We have to unwrap from all of this stuff and understand that we are mental creatures having an incredibly emotional experience. And the emotion can get so bad, we walk away from it. We don't want to face it, when actually, that's going to keep us cyclically having our problems. And the only way to go through it is to go face the stuff. Suddenly that pain that didn't feel good before, you're going to have to face that. It's going to funk. It's going to hurt. It's going to make you feel like, God, I don't want to do this. Just give me a 12-pack and leave me alone. Those are things we do because it's so hard and we're looking for help. And it's like, I don't know what to do. I can tell you that, that there is a way out, but it does take time. But if you know what to do, I think it can be faster. And that's just engaging mentally with the memories purposefully, making them okay, finding ways of making them okay. Once we take care of all the things that we can remember, there's still stuff there. There's a core. Somebody might have been raised in a home where they were told, oh, I love you, son. I love you, daughter. I love you. I love you. You do great. You do wonderful. Those are parts of their core wiring. Those weren't even situations and events. You might have been raised in an environment. Mine was not that way. It was typically hands off until, we would do things wrong. We're learning. The learning here, instead of being the positive, you're doing the good thing here, keep doing this. It was let kids do things until they mess up, and then you just start beating them and yelling and screaming how stupid they are. So I was raised with a very core belief that when I'm done, I'm like, I forgive everybody, but how come I'm still such an asshole? It's like, yeah, because you were raised being told what an idiot you are. And somewhere deep in the core is still that there. These things we have to extract ourselves from. We have to do this in a different way. We have to get outside of ourselves and see ourselves from outside. When you're sitting here feeling this going, oh, boo-hoo, you're living through the conscious. When you're standing outside going, okay, I see it happening, you're right there living through the higher being. This higher being needs to engage with the conscious. The part of you that goes, I see what's going on, needs to engage with the part of you that says, I don't want to deal with it. We see those parts there. The higher being knows from experience, conscious, you are afraid because you don't feel good. But what you don't know, and it's not your position to make the decision on, is that we're going to heal. So you don't get to make that choice. The higher being is going to do it. Then you don't have to feel this way. And then whatever is acting out in the background is good stuff instead of bad stuff. We're engaging with our life experiences. And how old are you? How many years of those experiences been accumulating? We got a brain full of stuff. The easiest thing sometimes to do is to step back to that higher being and look at the entire planet as a whole, as a humanity, watching them. In many cases, hurting, raping, maiming. There's a lot of pain in this world. There's a lot of hurt. You look and that's all news is anymore. There's a trillion good things going on, but you know what? We're going to focus on the bad things and wire everybody to look at bad and continue to create and focus on bad and create bad, and that won't stop. We have to pull ourselves away from that, and we have to understand that we're emerging from that we're just like them, and that we should be proud of the fact that we can come through there and survive what we've been through and come through the other side after having been molested, raped, stole from, all the things that happened to us or that we've done. We have to find a way to understand that when we're born, we're very spiritual. We live life, we need experience, we need consciousness, so we're gonna live life experiences. Whatever those life experiences are, welcome to planet Earth. We don't make those choices. Later on, however, we might be a person that says, I want to now raise above that physical experience that I've had and become somebody reattached to the higher self and live through that. That is what we're doing. That is what nirvana is, the kingdom of heaven within, the Holy Grail, the golden fleece. We're looking for this beginning of time, this place before we got hurt, which means we're letting go of the physical experiences that we're having because we understand how derogatory they are to our being. Everybody's being. We don't have to look at anybody else. We're looking at ourselves. That hard, right now, don't even worry about the world. We're looking at, I don't feel good. What? I don't feel good again today. It's been a week, a month. Yeah. Engage with the memories and then let them ease. Let them ease. The brain's got a wire. It's got to let go. You have to keep going at it. I believe this. There's an entire structure. I fixed something, but something's still not right. Keep going at it. Keep going at it. Keep going at it. And it will emerge. But you have to know that between the time you start and the time it's okay, yeah, it's going to be not okay. It won't be. That's all I wanted to say. My heart goes out to everybody doing that. I've done this. I've woken up at times in my life. I remember one time in the garage floor, some November, waking up on the cement, sleeping, and I was like, what is going on? I was in the garage drinking. And I come to cold and you realize, I'm laying here in my urine and I got vomit stuck on. It's a good thing I'm a side sleeper. I don't know what to do. Life hurts. I'm looking for Larry. People suck. Those are experiences I know. I know what they feel like. And they're not fun. They're not. I know it. My heart goes out to him. I wish there was just some easy fix way, but there isn't. But with perseverance and knowing that we can do this, we can make it through there. I found a way to engage with the material and make that stuff stop. Well, it was more than that. It was a lot of things we have to take care of. We have to create new beliefs and get rid of our old ones. We have to understand something different, or we need to let go of our convictions mainly. Let's just look at the pieces. There's a universe. We're born, and at the time we're born, we are an organic being, but somehow we're emergent from the universe. And however our brain is connected to this space is going to be wired and connected in. And at first, that's where we are. As we begin to grow and develop, we begin to learn enough to where we have our conscious. We become self-aware when we're children. We begin to play and we like things. We're not. I don't remember being fed, as an infant or anything like that. And I know I was. All that kind of stuff. There's no memory of it. There is this understanding then as I'm living life, that as I'm having physical life experiences enough repetitively, that this simple structure is beginning to build. But it is pretty simple, and it's carefree, and it's happy, and it's connected with that higher being. I can tell because I look back on it and go, boy, I had all kinds of like those mental things happening. We said the same thing at the same time. I was just thinking that. I knew Mom was going to come in the door. I heard Larry's dead before I found him in the tree. All these things are going on. Deja vu. Later on, that's not happening as much, but you're also having life experiences more and more, and you're judging life experiences. And this is represented in the stories of, getting fire and growing out from the infancy in Greek myth, or the first sin in the Garden of Eden, where you're now becoming exposed to life. And as a result, that happy, carefree self is gone. But that what is happening then is that we're having conscious life experiences coupled with our development as we become self-aware, and that those conscious life experiences are then judged by the consciousness and stored and become our basic core. And as that happens, we begin to live through this, which is good. We're learning how to think. We're learning how to figure things out. But when we do, that connection to the cosmos, to the universal field, whatever that is, the collective, I don't know. It's the universe, the energy of the universe. Our entire life, that's where we get the energy from our life experience from, and it flows through those life experiences. So the life experiences in the physical manifest as a result of the quality of the judgments that we've made over time. And we've lost connection with the higher being. Now we've gotten to a point where we're realizing that that's what's going on, and that this mass is really what is actually creating the quality of life. So we have to manipulate the way that is managed in our minds or stored away emotionally. That's how we measure what it is. This is why it's difficult. Let's go back farther. Let's go to God mode. Look at planet Earth. We're fuzzy creatures long ago, emergent from the savannah. We're in tribes, we're in groups, and we're structured in such a way that the mass is in there taking care of itself. It's the engine to keep life going, and food, and taking care of kids and moms and dads, and rearing, all of that going on. While on the outskirts are the introverts that are optimized for that. You can't stand it in the group, so you're driven to the outside, which forces you to become more aware. You sense things a little bit more. That's us in that group right there. The people that are going to see this somehow are that way. But what are we wiring with? What is our fear? You've seen people get eaten by animals. You've heard them scream. You've felt it. That's why we're out there on the edges, why we're so afraid. We are afraid for our lives. That's the mechanism that we have wired in. Now later you're looking at, I molested somebody, or I got molested, or something like that, and it feels like the lion is about to eat you. That's the mechanism that's in place protecting us. It's over the top. We feel way too strongly and get behind walls and build up fear, and we don't come out from there. We need to sit back and go, that's what's going on. Come on. You know what happened? This happened, that happened. Yeah. Oh, yeah, same thing. The same with me. Happens. Whoops. Everybody's down there. Billions of people. That's going on. Glad you emerged above it. We need to get to a point where we are not connected with our physical or conscious fears so much that they win, and that is what dictates the quality of our life. The fear that we have to face the things that we hold should not be what dictates the quality of our life, and it will do so cause and effect without us looking at it. Think it through. Here's another part I almost forgot. Chasing ghosts. This is acknowledging memories. Here's how this one works. You could be at just times a year, for whatever reason, somebody might point out to you, yeah, you're always this way at this time, or something. You can't quite get a hold of something. And you're thinking, God, I have let that go. What is the problem? What is still there? Okay, try this. Go into the memory and go use your higher being to find your earlier self. Just picture it in your mind. I would do this. I would see myself. This was a common thing for me at recess as a kid, hiding in the woods crying, because you get picked on or something. It was just, it was a gawky, gangly, that was just the way it was. And it was home life and school life, and it was life all around. But I can remember then myself later on remembering all that and going, you know what, I'm good with all that. I see what happened. I've separated from that. Boo-hoo is done. I'm finished with that. I'm good. I am okay. But something still bothers me. What I would do is I would go find myself in the woods in my mind and say, hey, how you doing, little Danny? And you know what? I would feel emotional, like crying or something like that. Here's what happens. There's a piece of memory that's put away at that time that hasn't been resolved. And what you're doing at this point in time is locating that memory in your mind by seeing the image of it, feeling it, engaging with it, and then letting that little kid know, hey, guess what? Your future's going to be fine. You're all right. You're simply acknowledging that. I call it chasing ghosts. You're making friends with the skeletons in the closet. They don't act out anymore. I actually have experienced one throughout my life that was bothersome. I never got a hold of it, didn't even know it was there. My wife actually helped me. She helped me point it out, but I had to be of a mind where I listened to her. I had to be of a mind where when she said, you're constantly doing this at this time or something, I had to go, oh, cycles. What am I doing? How is it? Okay, and it was a certain time of year. And what it ended up hinging on, this is just bizarre, but this is how I healed it. When I was young, 9 years old, I've told this story before, apologies to people who have heard it. My brother took his life at home. He wanted to go to heaven, and he hung himself in the woods. It was very tragic to me. I found him. I cut him down. I tried to give him mouth to mouth. I didn't know what I was doing. Filled him with air. He regurgitated. It was horrific. It was a terrible thing. I was never dealt with. I was told to wait outside while everything, it was too raucous. Nobody ever resolved this issue with me. And in Sunday school, the Sunday school teacher, his Sunday school teacher, because my birthday was about a month after this happened, they had a surprise birthday party for me, and they never had surprise birthday parties for any of the kids there, but they sent me from my Sunday school class down to Larry's up a grade. And as soon as I opened the door, they burst into happy birthday, the songs of happy birthday. There's a cake there. And, I see we got these gifts, like Mr. Potato Head and stuff like that. And I can remember just looking at Mr. Woodard after they got done, and I'm crying, I'm bawling, and I just ask him, are you doing this because Larry died? Because and look, it still affects me a little bit. When you find those memories, when you talk about them, you see how they act, okay? Those are the ones you have to acknowledge to be okay with. They're still there, and they're letting you know the nature of them by simply recalling them. Do you see that? So then, what is happening? We have to think from our higher being to look at this, but essentially what we have is that we have become this physical product of those experiences. We're living through those experiences, and they don't feel good. And that in order to change and to separate from, it's not just to change our life experience, but it's to let go of those physical things that we're hanging on to. That is what we're holding on to, is actually what is up here in our mind that is creating the filters that dictate the quality of our life. And the only way to change the quality of our life is to change the color of those filters. And the color of those filters is emotion. Shift analogs with me. We got to learn this to read the material. And so that means that stuff hurts, and you have to go sit through it, period. That's it. Without doing that, it doesn't work. It's very structurally mechanical, but it feels spiritual. It's emotional. Remember that fear and why it's there. Okay, I think I've done my typical wandering all over on the video here, and there's a lot to it. And I think I just approach these pretty much as, here's something I would like to address because it's come up. And I think it's going to, if it's helpful to somebody, then that's what it's for. All right. Any questions or comments, as usual, please feel free to put them below. And love one another. I'll see you in the next video.